Welcome one and all to Last Stop Penn Station podcast featuring Cary Silkin and Ian Riccaboni. They dive deep into Cary's wealth of stories, and no subject is off limits. From the world of wrestling to his ticket agency, growing up in New Jersey, drug-fueled underground days, hustling in the French Quarter of New Orleans, and endless days and nights in New York City, every story is worth telling.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting edition of Last Stop Penn Station. I'm Ian Riccaboni, our guest of honor, Cary Silkin. Cary, I've been in the sun. I feel rejuvenated, and it's great.
You look good.
What
the hell did you bring back?
For those of you joining us on the audio version of this podcast, which is most of our listeners, I have a multicolored Mickey Mouse sweatshirt on.
Now, did you purchase that on this trip?
I did, and it's a women's extra large, which I now know my size.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's very bright and colorful, and it was nice to see colors. It was nice to see just people happy.
How was it at Disney World? Because we're going to tell a Disney World story after this. But how was it at old Disney World in these times? You know, I was just in Florida. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known anything's going on. How was Disney World?
I got to commend Disney. Everybody's got a mask. If you don't have one on, they walk up to you and politely ask you to put it on or adjust it, make sure it's covering your face. And it was relatively empty. I've been in Disney World where they've shut the park down or they've shut in further admission because
they didn't spin the gate.
They didn't spin the gate. No, you have to reserve, even if you bought a ticket, you have to reserve that's the day you're going to go.
Okay.
So which is a difference.
So I would imagine you didn't have the giant. All right. Was you able not to buy that ridiculously overpriced fast pass?
Right. So Universal does that, but Disney now just lets you sign in through your app and pick a couple. They usually give you like an A tier, 2 B tiers, and a C tier. So they let you do that for free. And then we were just walking on rides. We literally walked on Space Mountain middle of the day, which is normally an hour wait, 90-minute wait.
Is that your favorite?
I love Space Mountain. My brother loves Big Thunder Mountain, which is I
can't remember that. I do remember Space Mountain. I was there 25 years ago.
Yeah. It's Big Thunder Mountain. You're going just through you're essentially a prospector, and they put you in this railroad type car vehicle through a roller coaster, and that was fun. There was no wait for that, no wait for anything.
Didn't they? Maybe I'm confusing this with Universal. The last time I was down there, one of the two put in a Simpsons thing.
Yeah, that's Universal.
Was wildly popular.
Yeah, Universal, to their credit, is really stepping up all kinds of stuff. They have Simpsons, they have Harry Potter. They've done Men in Black. They've done a ton of fun stuff. And they have a big Jurassic Park roller coaster coming.
Okay.
So they really stepped up their game, and they, Disney used to be the big one, but I think they're going to start to feel a little bit of pressure from Universal.
So you're with your brother.
Yeah, who's 42. I'm 34.
And you two guys, these two middle-aged guys,
right,
are walking around Disney with families.
Yep.
And how much time did you invest each day?
Oh, geez. We walked a collective 26 miles between Saturday and Sunday.
It's a lot of walking.
It is. It was great. I landed about 11 o'clock on Saturday, checked into the hotel. We ate lunch. We checked in about 1 o'clock. And then from 2 o'clock to 11 o'clock, we were at the Epcot Center. And the next day, we went to Magic Kingdom. We were there when it opened at 8 a.m. And we left in the middle of the day, came back. We were there till about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So long time, maybe, 8 hours, maybe 24 hours total.
So I remember Epcot Center being a little classier. It's had good, at least for food.
Yeah.
I just don't remember. Got to refresh my memory. I'm sure it's changed since 1996 when I was there last. But what do you do at Epcot?
So Spaceship Earth, which takes you kind of through the history of communication and the spread of the spoken word and all that. It's the big golf ball. And then there's Test Track, which you hop in a GM car and they spin you around a test track, and that's a fun ride. And Soarin' is probably the most popular one there.
What's that?
They put you in a big hang glider simulator, and it's really neat. This is big IMAX, and they put you in a hang glider, and they kind of lift you up and float you and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I like Figment, who's the purple dragon.
Okay.
And he's the figment of your imagination. So, but then you walk around all the countries, and there's little things. And as an adult, this is the first time I've ever had any disposable income while I've gone to Epcot Center and didn't have kids. So I might have had a few too many alcoholic beverages.
Okay, that's causing you to buy the...
Oh, I bought this Stone Cold Sober on Monday morning. But
it's very nice.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I hope you brought something for the kids.
I did. Oh, I got a nice...
And Sarah.
Yeah, I got Sarah some Magic Kingdom leggings with the castle. She likes to exercise in that. So I bought her those and a shirt. And then I got Zach a book, and Nora a big T-Rex, plush T-Rex from Toy Story.
Well, Zach's old enough.
Mm-hmm.
Was he like aware that you're going to Disney World?
No. It's we've kind of kept that under wraps from Zach.
Sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah, but we've started to plan a trip for this summer because it was incredible. It felt incredibly safe with the masks, with the distancing. We didn't eat inside at restaurants, but you can eat. That's just a personal preference. You are able to, but we chose to kind of get snacks and kind of just separate ourselves and eat. So yeah, we felt pretty safe and comfortable. And they have the social distancing in the lines. They have the social distancing on the transportation, whether that's the boat or the monorail.
You flew back Monday?
Flew back Monday, yeah. So a quick, 24, 48. Quick 60-hour jaunt.
Well, that's cool. You got to see your brother.
Yeah.
Got out of town for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Not happy. Well, you've gone on a couple trips with the family, but you're on your own and you don't have to be in a bubble.
Right. Yeah.
So that's nice.
It was nice. It was really nice, and got a lot of sun, which I think I needed. Feels good.
Feels good.
Yeah.
That was one of the highlights of my brief. And AJ was in Florida too. Just, where we live, yesterday was 70 degrees or damn close or maybe a little over. And I was sitting in the backyard, felt great. And then it goes down to 45. But that week I was in Florida, every day was, around 80. I hope you had the same kind of experience.
We did 80 and sunny all 3 days.
Nice.
So yeah.
You feel better.
Yeah, it was good. And so now I got to get the family down and because there's a little guilt, you go down and just a little bit.
Well, speaking of before we, there's a lot of news this week, but real quick, we'll mention, check out myself and Ian on the 55 and 5, the Parkhurst trading card, 1955 wrestling set, which is also available on ad-free shows with thanks to Conrad and our poster of the week. Mm-hmm. And this past week's Ring of Honor, it was a number of watch-alongs.
Right.
But our Monday, every Monday we have a watch party. And what a historic episode. It was the 500th, under the Sinclair banner, 500th episode of Ring of Honor television.
Incredible. I've been a part of Ring of Honor in some form or fashion since 2014. So that's 7 years. That's right there. That's 350 some episodes that I've been in the orbit for, and I've called about 200 of them. And so just incredible to be a part of. And I can't believe we're already at 500. I remember when we were at 300, and I remember when we were at 250, and it's just wild.
Yeah, it's very cool. I got to be on the, I was on the pre-show or the post-show or both.
But you're on the pre-show for the 500.
Yes,
yeah.
And then there was the Zoom call with the fans.
Right.
That was fun.
That one got a little racy.
Yeah, you had some breaks. It wasn't that racy.
And that's a benefit of Honor Club, right? You get to see us with our guard down a little bit, having fun. And
Bobby Cruz got upset. I told the closet story.
Right.
I don't know if we told that on the podcast.
Yeah.
So He's like, Cary, this isn't a shoot interview. I'm not going to say anything bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 500. So we're on to 501 this weekend.
501 this weekend, we see Violence Unlimited making their in-ring debut against La Facción Ingobernable. So this marks the return of Homicide to Ring of Honor officially. And it's going to be a heck of a battle. And we'll also see Eli Isom versus Dak Draper.
A lot of buzz around Eli these days. Both guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So both those guys in title contention.
Two hunks,
yeah. Absolutely. And after the week after that, Tracy Williams defending the title against Tony Deppen, the TV title.
Who I got to meet when I was in Florida.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I might be seeing him again in a few weeks.
Hey, all right.
Depending on, what do they say? Such and such and the creek don't rise. My health and the protocols and the creek don't rise. But I might be seeing everyone in a few weeks. We'll see how that goes. But I was saying quite a week with news with the we talk politics here. The George Floyd decision,
right?
Or
Derek
Chauvin decision.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all bracing for something. It's unfortunate we have such a history where we were bracing for something we thought was coming, that justice wouldn't be served. And, we can't bring George Floyd back, but we take solace in the decision that the jury made the right call and did it quickly. Yeah, I thought, I don't know what I thought, but I didn't think it would be that fast. And, AJ, you're right. I'm not watching the news anymore because CNN and MSNBC, the good guys for me, last night, in the brief time I put them on, I was like, all right, the decision was done. I don't have to watch any more news. Right. So it's like automatically I made, maybe the ball game was over or whatever. I was listening to something or watching something. It was in between. But I go to that and they're talking about, there's the possibility that, Chauvin, am I pronouncing it right? He can only get 15 years, and in other words, they're trumping up their side of the worst case scenario. Right. Instead of just letting things rest. Right. That's how they get ratings. Yeah. Yeah. It's the cycle of excitement and panic and all of that. So, I mean, I'm just happy. It felt relieved. It was like there was a collective relief that the right decision was made. I mean, the video is out there. You can watch the whole the murder. I think of George Floyd, and it's heartbreaking and stunning. And one of the points I heard made was the jury had to watch. Was made to watch it in full. Well, I didn't even know. Not to believe me, I'm fully behind the penalty that this policeman received. But they kept drumming in the horrible 9 minutes and however many seconds, which was horrible. But there was about a 15 or 18 minute period before that where they're trying to get him in a police car, and he wouldn't go. And that was part of the defense. They tried, but you have the man in handcuffs, right? And there's 3 other officers standing there. Yeah, where's he going? Right. And hopefully this is there'll be some public will be things will be a little calmer. Yeah, and I hope too that this might be a wake up call for some folks that may have considered the tactics that were used on George Floyd and reconsider some of the behaviors that have led to policing like that. So we have a long way to go. We do, but now it feels like there's at least some consequences have been established, where in the past that might not have been the case. Well, as they say in Hadestown, I've got good news, though. Oh, okay. Yeah. What's the good news? They've decriminalized prostitution. Oh. I had the New York news on today, and
I don't think decriminalize is the right word. They
declining prosecution.
Yes, they're throwing all the cases out of court.
Mm-hmm.
It's a waste of time, and they're not going to be actively looking for those. It's like marijuana.
Yeah.
It's being decriminalized.
They should.
Which it should have been for years.
It should just be. It should be regulated and taxed. Make money off of it. We need to feed seniors. We need to improve education. We need to fix the roads. Billions of dollars. You'd make billions. You establish rules. You keep people healthy.
Right. Yeah. You can make. You could take a bad neighborhood, a quote unquote bad neighborhood of New York, and make it like the red light district, like in Amsterdam.
I mean, there's so many creative ideas.
Attraction.
Right. So many creative ideas, and it takes it out of the shadows. If you put some light on it, anytime, if people know more, they get safer. It's a win-win-win.
And if you listen to Last Stop Penn Station, I tell these stories from going back to my high school era. Right. 8th Avenue line. If you haven't heard them, go back and listen to some of these episodes. 8th Avenue lined up shoulder to shoulder with hookers. And the other hookers were, if you didn't want to spend a whole $15, you go by the Lincoln Tunnel.
Oh my goodness!
The discount rate.
The discount.
That's where the one nice girl sang. Take me in your arms and rock me, rock me, baby.
In the car, yeah.
With her paraphrased lyrics.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you remember that?
I do remember.
And we're not going to even say it now. You have to go back and you'll hear the full unedited version of what this young lady said to us. As a teaser to that, to maybe get people to subscribe and go back and look when I'll refresh your memory. Yeah. It was my friend's birthday, and we had this brilliant idea to take him in the city to get a blowjob. We were 18. It was his 18th birthday, and my one friend Dale had this big. What were those cars? They had it was like almost Cadillacs. Like a lot of those had the fins.
Yeah.
This is like a 59 or a 61, big car. Just like the Golden Shower, the other car had that Baby Dumpling's name. The best thing about the car was if you got in an accident, you were safe.
Right.
So it was so heavy. But this was a convertible to boot.
Oh wow!
And so when the on 9th Avenue, those girls jumped in our car, literally.
Yeah.
And it was two guys in front, me and another guy in back, and these two girls hopped in, one in the front, one in the back. And we really, honestly, only wanted to get my one friend, Joe Squillis. Maybe he's a listener.
Oh, my goodness. Cary's name.
A priest.
You said no shoot interviews. Now we're naming names.
Good old Joe. So I probably got his last name mispronounced anyway. So, I wanted no participation. And the woman in the back was a buxom lady. She was heavy, and she was rocking, and it was like the Meatloaf song. It was a hot summer night. Well, they figured they had these 4 18-year-old kids.
Yeah,
they're going to go to town. Excuse me. So I was telling the lady next to me, madam, we just
pardon me, madam.
Yes, we just want to get our friend taken care of. She's like, oh, come on, baby, what's wrong? We're gonna party. I go, no, it's him. And she I was in the center. My other friend was to the right of me. She was on the left, and in a desperate attempt for me to agree to this activity, as if this was going to spark my interest, she removed her right breast and basically put it in my face. And as she said, as she was singing the Rock Me Baby song, she said, come on, baby. let's party. I said, you told me that. Come on, suck titty and everything.
Oh my goodness.
I said, no. This was getting guaranteed. I was like, go, get away. So, yeah, what a scene that was. Yeah, I've referred to this. I didn't even want to go off on this, but check out The Deuce on Showtime or whatever it's on. If you want to see New York and
it's an authentic experience based on your.
It is authentic.
Yeah,
it is authentic. So yeah, prostitution's been legalized.
Amazing.
Hooray.
Make it safe, put some rules around it, and get the tax money.
Yeah.
I don't see why that's a huge problem. Yeah. And that'll clean up some of the other issues too. It'll clean up the trafficking. It'll clean up, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This is, you put some regulation around it.
Sex educator. You would think of some ways that I don't think.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking good.
Going in good things. Yeah, I mean, you can again. New York City does a great job of free condoms, free HIV testing. New York City's on the forefront of a lot of that. Just continue along that path and make it completely safe. Yeah.
Let's hope it goes that route.
Yeah, people should, if it's consenting adults and they're willing to make it a business transaction. Let's destigmatize it. Let's make it legal.
Well, right, and I'd like to see. It was good seeing these sex workers on the street back then. It was like part of the fabric of the city.
Yeah,
it really was. They didn't go. It's funny. You had the Broadway theaters, and like the Majestic Theater where Phantom's been playing for 25, 30 years now.
Yeah.
And the St. James on 44th. They were inches from 8th Avenue.
Amazing.
Where the all this skullduggery was taking place.
Did the clientele, I mean, you're talking about Broadway, the tickets were expensive now. I'm sure they were expensive then.
Yeah.
Was the clientele aimed at business people? Was it aimed at folks that were coming out of the theater? Did they know that there was wealth over there because of the theaters?
No, there were different districts. We're going to do a whole episode on the sex tour.
Right.
But most of these girls, these ladies that I mentioned, 8th Avenue, they were between 39th Street and right by the Hammerstein, not 34th, 35th Street. So if they would have stretched to 34th, that's too busy a block.
Interesting.
The block.
I do, yeah.
And if you would have stretched past 39th, you're going up to Port Authority.
Right.
So they sort of push them into their own little safety district. So when I mentioned 8th Avenue, you'd be like, well, you're talking about, where were the prostitutes on 8th Avenue? That was the male prostitutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they weren't abundant as like the women. But there was a number of these, watch the movie Midnight Cowboy. There was a number of these male prostitutes that would just hang out in front of the adult theaters. They were also on 42nd Street in front of the regular theaters. There was a couple of bars. And once again, for the fourth time, go back to Last Stop Penn Station. I tell some stories. But there were some bars that catered to this, and these guys were around. Also, there's a famous, I know we've spoken about this, but that's all right. There's a famous Ramones song, 53rd and 3rd.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it on the podcast, but I'm familiar.
I don't know how 53rd and 3rd Avenue, which was a business district.
Very business, still is.
Became a hub in the 70s of just male prostitutes.
Really?
They were shoulder to shoulder there.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Yeah, and...
I'm familiar with the song. I didn't realize.
One of the Ramones participated as a hooker for a while.
Interesting. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Our friend Ryan Ginley's very familiar with this song.
Right.
But yeah, how that area got this. We'll save it more for our sex tour.
Yeah, and now I have the song "Sweet Cream Ladies Forward March" stuck in my head. Do you remember that one?
Who's that by?
Was that the Grassroots? Sweet Cream Ladies Forward March.
You're stumping me. You really do. This guy's a one-hit wonder maniac.
I think that might have been the Grassroots. It might have been the Guess Who, but it's one of those groups. That
sounds like Guess Who.
Yeah. So we'll save that for the sex tour. You mentioned Disney World. Finally want to talk about the trip to Disney World?
I'm going to get to Disney World quick.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say real quick, Mike G., who's plodding along slowly but surely with the Last Stop Penn Station memoirs, had 2 big interviews this week.
Oh, tell us more.
Gary Juster.
Oh, that's a big one. He doesn't do many. Yeah.
No, and Mick Foley.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Very good.
Yeah.
And Mike knew Mick from his days as Ring of Honor publicist, and we sent Foley a Woodstock. Mike's Back to Yasgur's Farm book. Mick's is a major rock and roller. So that was the first time Mike had spoken to him, and not only did Foley get it, he read it and he loved it.
Wow.
So that was
awesome.
cool. So Mike and Mick got to reunite, and Mick had some really nice things to say about his time in Ring of Honor.
Wow.
Its place. I go over Mike with questions, and Mike's pretty good without me. How does he feel his place in wrestling, just in the history of wrestling is? So he had some very nice things to say, and about his time there. He showed up one time, not to wrestle, but when we had Jushin Liger.
Oh, yeah.
At the Rexplex.
Okay.
And he brought his kid, who's, I think, WWE writer now.
Yeah, Dewey. Yeah.
Or he's some kind of an employee.
Yeah.
He brought him to the Rexplex, and it was horrible traffic coming from Long Island. So he was mentioning to Mike that, he goes, not only did I like working there, I went out of the way to go to some shows, that being one of them. He wanted to see Jushin Liger.
Yeah, who wouldn't? I mean, especially at the time, he was making very few U.S. appearances.
Very few. So, so that was really, really good. So we're moving along with the book. We usually talk about, maybe you have something you want to tell me that you've watched recently. That's good. AJ and I watched part 1. I liked it a lot, and I might have seen it before, but I sort of forgot about it. It's a 2-part Frank Sinatra documentary.
Okay.
And this was just, his early days. He was a Hoboken boy too. And his great rise in the late 30s. He was like rivaled Elvis, rivaled the Beatles. You want to talk about screaming girls?
Yeah.
They had to have police escorts to get him out of the buildings.
Wow.
And he joined Harry James Orchestra, I believe, and they were very jealous of him. These musicians, like no one got the attention he did. Yeah. And these are real good musicians.
Yeah.
Like, skinny kid. So and as big as his rise was, he also had a decline. There was a lot of reasons for it. World War II was going on. He was F4'd. You know what that is?
No.
When they a medical reason.
Oh, okay.
For not being allowed in. Eventually, he went in and did some sort of charity work. Yeah. But his career was on the decline, and he as big as he, just like a lot of pop stars, as huge as he was in the late 30s, early 40s. By the end of the 40s, he was down, and couldn't even get a record deal. Wow. And the funny thing with World War II was what really brought him back was there's the movie From Here to Eternity. Okay. And he had played some other movie roles, but this was his first serious role. And they were like, no. They had other name actors, Montgomery Clift. So the movie was a success, and one of the record companies re-signed him, and he had a great album with a number of his, I think The Summer Wind was on it. Oh, okay. And some other big hits. Yeah. And that was it. He just stayed at the top of the pops. Amazing. So the second half I'm really interested in because it's going to get to the Vegas, the whole Rat Pack.
So that's the late 50s, 60s. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I finished the Tim Hornebaker Buddy Rogers book. Okay. And I had gotten through most of it, but I on the plane.
Gary said it was rough to read.
I loved it. It was
hard to get through.
Yeah. So Tim Hornbaker includes a lot of detail, and it can be tough if you aren't as familiar with some of the subject matter because it's very thick. It's very filled with dates. But one of the things that he did was he cites and quotes a lot of newspapers. So it's interesting you brought up Frank Sinatra because there's some articles from the late 40s and early 50s saying the Bobby Soxers have never seen a rise to superstardom since Frank Sinatra quite like Buddy Rogers.
There you go.
And so
that was Sinatra's. They're taking that from this. That was Sinatra's crowd. But go ahead.
Yeah, and it was just quite incredible. And it's Buddy Rogers. It's interesting how he had such a great sense for when things were going right and well, and kind of when to pull out of a relationship and go back into one, whether it's Sam Mushnick or his relationship with Jack Pfeffer, which was notoriously rocky.
How about Al Haft?
Al Haft, yeah, in Cleveland, right?
In Ohio.
In Ohio, yeah. And he, a great relationship there. He helped Buddy rise, that's where he really, really became a big name as Buddy Rogers, as we might think of him, with sort of the...
Well, I have it here. Mm-hmm. I got to dig into it.
It's great. It's wonderful. I highly recommend it.
And right now, I got to take a leak.
Oh, all right. We will pause with the magic of audio editing, and we will return in just a moment here at Last Stop Penn Station. And we're back. Our first ever. We've been doing it over a year. This is our first ever stop down.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Which I've been wondering. You're a big baseball fan.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen an umpire leave the field?
Yes.
Because you figure these are not all young guys.
Yes. So I was a bat boy for the Allentown Ambassadors. I haven't seen it in the majors, but I've seen it in person in a Northeastern League game, which is independent leagues. And maybe the level of professionalism isn't quite as high, but he ran through, went to the visitors clubhouse, took a leak, and came back.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are on the field sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours.
Yeah.
And once again, they're not all young men. Mm-hmm. So how do they do it?
Yeah, it's I think they sneak off. They usually have a nice clubhouse in the majors for the umpires. So
I guess during the commercial, but I don't ever remember being in a game and seeing a guy running.
Yeah,
maybe I just didn't notice.
I'll have to
an umpire will walk over like he's going to go talk to a manager and just like
sneak out. Yeah. I could see that happening.
So Disney World.
That's what we keep talking about.
And I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times. And with Ian wearing this lovely ladies extra large sweatshirt.
Yes.
What could CARY'S Disney World story be? Well, it's really not CARY'S Disney World story, but we were talking about when I moved out to this area and I was working with, I hate to even use their names for this story, so maybe I won't. But the guy I was working with,
mm-hmm.
It's all right, Farrell. He was good to me. He and his wife, they're both very nice people, but they used to, like a lot of married couples, they had their problems, and they had 4 kids. And Farrell was a great provider, and but if he didn't really have to be with the kids, he'd rather be working. I'm sure some of our listeners and some people could understand what we're saying.
Especially in the pandemic. You love our children, but if you're working from home and you're trying to be their teacher, you're trying to be their parent, you're trying to be everything for them.
Right. Mm-hmm. So they had basically an annual tradition to go to Disney World, and which was really nice. The problem was, Farrell, he was a tall guy, and he was heavy, and his weight would fluctuate to from probably between 275 and almost 401 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And he had problems with that, but he would try to lose weight, wouldn't lose weight. Like all of us have struggled with various addictive sicknesses of all natures.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he and his wife would go every year. And usually, not always, but usually they would go around Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And you being a Disney World expert, that's a busy time there.
Very busy. My family would go down. We would go down the weekend before. We'd do the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday before, and then have Thanksgiving with my grandparents in Ocala, because we knew the day before Thanksgiving and the day after is packed.
I'm sure the whole weekend.
Yeah, so Saturday starts to get busy for sure. Well,
being in the office, I heard this going on for weeks on the phone with him and his old lady, and he'd be like, the trip had been booked,
mm-hmm.
and he had not one, not two, not three, 4 kids, and there was a 11-year-old boy, and I think a 6 or 7-year-old boy, and there were twin daughters.
Okay,
they were like 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
It was a handful.
Yeah,
and his wife wanted to bring the mother-in-law, which is good to help with the kids,
mm-hmm.
but it was also another reason for him not to go.
Oh.
Let her go with your mother-in-law.
Interesting.
I'm paying for everything. And I don't want to be going to Disney World. Ticket business at the time, this is like 94, 95. We were busy. And I could handle the office, but if he could, he would use that as an excuse not to go.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was, look, I'm too heavy. I can't be walking around. I can't be walking around Disney World all day.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to do it. Or if I go, I'm staying at, and he wasn't a drinker, but he's like, I'm staying at the fucking pool. and one thing Frau he was good at a lot of things. But one thing he was really good at, let's say don't forget, this is pre-internet era. Let's say you got your gas or electric bill and it wasn't right. He was great at arguing, getting institutions on the, people that were hard to argue with, the electric company,
right?
PSE&G,
mm-hmm.
whatever. But he was, very persistent and would make a good case. So I'm listening to him try to sell his wife on this case. What's the name of one of those? Was there a hotel there? The Boardwalk?
Oh, the Boardwalk, yeah.
Yeah. I got a goddamn suite at the Boardwalk.
Mm-hmm.
2 suites. Your mother-in-law, mom could be one and the kids. And I got us first, I used my points and my money. I got us first class, and he did.
Mm-hmm.
First class, we're flying first class, out of fucking Newark. And if you don't like that, fuck you.
Oh,
and she would say, oh yeah, fuck you. You think I'm going to Disney World? Right? So this was going on for weeks.
Wow.
Weeks and weeks. Well, it came down to, I think we were it was like 95. We were starting to, I told on a couple episodes previous how 92, 93, we got the 94, Elton John, Billy Joel,
mm-hmm.
Barbara Streisand, the Simon and Garfunkel, the Bette Midler, the Rangers going to the Stanley Cups, the
mm-hmm.
Knicks going to the championship. Things were rolling. But by 95, we started dabbling with some theater tickets.
Oh, wow.
Besides this, Phantom of the Opera was still good.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Saigon.
Oh, yeah.
So I think Farrell's, one of his excuses was, we're loaded up with theater this weekend. This is the week of.
Yeah.
He was trying every way to get out of it.
Wow.
So come I think they were leaving on Wednesday, like an early evening flight. So he tells me on Tuesday, he goes, don't worry, you'll see me tomorrow. So
That confident.
It was Wednesday.
Wow.
Well, he didn't come in the morning, and he calls me up. He goes, I gotta go. Just we had. There was no pressure with the tickets.
Yeah.
We basically sold most of them.
Mm-hmm.
So off he went. So the story, I heard his end of it when he came back. And I knew his wife also.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard her version. So the version I'm going to tell is it's somewhere in between.
Sure.
In between the two. So off they went to Disney World. And the plane was late.
Mm.
They did have first class. I think something happened where 2 of the tickets were not first class. So the mother-in-law and one of the young kid, because he goes, and this is all I kept talking to him like the next day, like, you think I'm gonna go sit in the back? I can't fit in the back, right? So off they went. So I guess Thanksgiving Day they were there, but it was still busy. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't think it would be busy.
No, it's very busy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm back in the office Friday morning, and he calls me, how's it going? I go, everything's fine, man. I go, how's the trip? He goes, horrible.
Oh.
I go, what's the matter? He goes, I can't be walking around. These kids are too much,
Oh, my goodness.
He goes,
geez.
He goes, plus, Carey, I got to lose some weight. He goes, I just can't be walking.
Oh.
Anyway, what happened was somehow he made it through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday came along, and he told his old lady, I am not going back out with these kids. You take these little maniacs out. I'm staying by the pool. My feet hurt. My ankle's swollen. I'm not going out. So what does she say to him? Fuck you.
Good for her.
Me and my mother.
Good for her.
Me, like Tennessee Fields. You think me and my poor mother are going to schlep these kids while you lay lounging at the pool, stuffing yourself with hamburgers and smoking. So he's like, I'm not going out. They were going back and forth. So this is all what I heard afterwards.
Oh,
so
my
they're
goodness.
going back and forth. So this is Saturday morning. So they came to a meeting. They came to the, once again, hopefully Broadway will open again soon and we all go back to Hades now.
Yeah.
Don't forget, there is a condition. There was a condition. He said, look, I just want to sit at the pool. You see my ankle. He goes, I'll go back out with you, but I got to get a wheelchair.
Wow.
He says, fuck you. You think I'm going to push your fat ass around Disney World? You're out of your mind. He's like, well, I could sort of do it myself, but I'm sitting by the pool. So they argued. They agreed. All right, get the wheelchair.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you're probably familiar with this. They have, various customer service things. Mm-hmm. So he was like, don't they have like levels? Like he was like a gold member.
Yeah, depending on, and if you had American Express at the time,
but
you could
he
get
was also
special.
like a frequent flyer.
Yeah, they'll take care of you. Yeah. Right.
So he was like at a high level. So he called the customer service booth and asked them that, it's not uncommon,
Sure.
They're not going to say, why do you need a wheelchair? Mm-hmm. My name's so-and-so. I'm a gold member. I need a wheelchair. The guy's like, well, we're very busy, but we'll have one for you. He goes, I need it at 10 a.m. He goes, none available. It must come between 11 and 11:15. He's like, when he get mad, he'd bellow like him. He'd go, whoa! like a wounded moose calling to its mate. I'm a gold member. Guy's like, look, 11 to 11:30, all right?
Yeah.
Click. So something happened at breakfast, and one of the kids spilled jelly on the other, and they had to go back and change the clothes, and this turned to that.
Yeah.
And they didn't get to the appropriate, what would they call the area?
Magic Kingdom?
No. What do they call the area that you would rent these such items?
Oh, concierge customer service.
Right. So he didn't get there till 11:40.
Oh, no.
And he walks in. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but at Disney World, most of the employees are college kids or younger people.
Absolutely.
So he goes in, and there's some younger person there, and he's like, I have a wheelchair. like the aluminum siding guy. I have a wheelchair appointment. I'm a gold member. So the kid's like, oh, what's your last name? He gives her the last name. Well, it's 11:43, sir. We don't have any wheelchairs. And then so he bellows, right? He goes, demanded to see the manager.
Yeah.
Scared the kid.
Yeah.
So second person comes out who maybe was 20. The so-called manager says, look, there's no wheelchairs.
Yeah, they give them away if you don't meet the time.
So he's like, whoa, I want to see a general manager immediately, So the second kid goes and gets an adult. Mm-hmm. Probably dragged him from another department, some kind of management level person. And so now it's like almost noon. There's a line of people out behind him.
And the kids have got to be going stir
crazy. The kids
crazy.
are going wacky.
Yeah.
And the young kids working in the place, they were scared to death.
Yeah.
And now here comes the guy, more of an adult. And he explained, I've been coming here for 7 years. Blah, blah. The guy's like, look, sir, calm down. We could get you a wheelchair, but you got to wait till 1:30. We're not going to have any. Can I talk some common sense into you, sir? I don't care if we respect you being a gold member in the highest esteem, but we're just not going to have it until 1:30. Yeah. And what did he say? So the guy, the manager, in a desperate attempt, after telling him that we're just not going to have it, go away. There's people behind you. You've been holding up the line for 30 minutes now. Instead, when he tried to tell him to go away, Farrell says, I'm not going anywhere. I want a damn wheelchair. So the guy's like, hold on. He goes in the back, and he comes back, and he comes back out. He says, look, I told you, my man, I'm not going to have a wheelchair at 1:30, but I've got something for you. And he comes out. Now, if someone had an unfortunate accident, like maybe they twisted their ankle, God forbid, a heart attack or something, the guy comes out with a gray hospital-style gurney.
Oh, my God.
And Farrell goes, ooh! And his wife goes, ooh! So the guy's like, look, you either take this or you wait till 1:30. Who's next?
Yeah.
Well, him and his old lady start arguing, and somehow he convinced her, if you don't take, let me take this so I could rest on it. God. I'm going back to the pool, and you could take the kids. I told you. So they acquiesced to letting him take the gurney. Some of the time, he walked along through the Magic Kingdom.
Gurney and tow.
Other times, he wouldn't go on the rides. Other times, if the kid, they had the fast pass too, but you still have to wait. he would lay down on the gurney.
Oh, God.
Well, this was going on all day. At one point, he tried to get his wife to push him. She had no part of it. Right?
So he had to walk anyway, pretty much.
Anyway, plus dragging the gurney around. So,
karma's real.
correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they have a parade with the Disney characters?
They do.
So there was the parade. Was it was November. They waited till dusk. So they have fireworks and stuff for the characters. So they wanted to get in perfect position. So the parade started at 6. So they get to the good position for the parade at like 5:15. Well, now there's 45 minutes till the parade starts. So he's like, I'm laying down. By the way, this is Nigel McGinnis' all-time poster. Now he's laying down on the gurney.
God, I'm crying.
Well, the youngest kid, just like your kid, or any 4 or 5-year-old boy. He's playing around with the gurney, and we had a break. Oh. They were on a slight incline. And just at the point when the parade started, being led by Goofy. And, before I forget, they were honoring a local hospital, and they had handicapped kids. That Mickey, Minnie, Daffy, and what's Daffy's wife's name?
Donald and Daisy.
Daisy, Donald and Davy. Yeah. Were in these handicapped kids that were in wheelchairs, and they were leading them. It was a special, they do it like once or twice a year, and it was the Saturday of Thanksgiving, and so the only one who didn't have a kid was Goofy, who was leading the parade. Well, the young boy kicked the brake lock.
No.
And they were maybe 25 yards ahead of the parade. And the gurney slowly, as Goofy is leading the parade, and the handicapped kids are being pushed down, Goofy sees the gurney, and he was like, oh shit, it must be one of the handicapped kids.
Oh, no.
Here's this behemoth laying on the gurney, right? And Goofy grabs it. And now he's being led at the front of the parade. And after about, maybe 50 feet, in Charlton, he woke up and he sat up and he's waving his hands. They had to pick him up at Epcot Center. I don't think they went back the next year. Oh my goodness. They dragged him. He remained. I mean, I've never seen the parade. How long does it go?
Yeah, it usually just goes Main Street. Yeah, Main Street, USA. And
how long would that be?
That's probably a good quarter, half a mile, quarter mile.
Yeah, Farrell just stayed on the gurney. Occasionally waving to the mayor.
The mayor.
And the guy that was Goofy, the guy that was playing the Goofy, like when he got to the end, he said, I go, Jesus Christ, your fucking ass down the whole goddamn thing. At least you can tip me. He was generous. He gave him a 20. Nice. So they had to chase him down to the end of Main Street, USA, which I think was near the entrance of Epcot. He told me it was Epcot.
Oh,
and retrieve him. And then he got fined. Late fee.
Oh,
for bringing the gurney back too late. An extra like $50. He was like, ooh. So yeah, that was my Disney World story.
Wow.
A classic.
Yeah. And I can't even imagine that. Even, my parents, they used to, there used to be things that would get them wound up like any set of parents. But when we were at Disney World, it was the opposite. My dad, we were going to get our money's worth. We were going to be there when the park opened. And God damn it, we were going to be there when the park closed.
Well, to his credit, he'd taken them there many a time.
Yeah. Many
a time. But this time, just the circumstances weren't good.
Just a bridge too far.
Health wasn't great. And but he got to star in the parade.
Amazing.
Right? Imagine this. I think Goofy was a big guy.
Yeah.
Otherwise wouldn't be able to handle him.
Yeah, usually the Goofies have to be pretty tall. Wow.
Well, that's our story for Last Stop Penn Station. Our sweet, charming stories of Disney World.
Have you ever been?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time I was there was in '96. I was with my friend Tom Val, who's had his 2 younger daughters. And I went down for something to do.
Yeah.
Saw the Doobie Brothers play.
Okay.
And might have been New Year's Eve.
You know what's crazy? My family went down on Thanksgiving 92, 93, 94, 96.
They might have been there.
Well, if it was 95, we would have missed it.
It could have been 94 or 6. I forget.
Oh, yeah. So what do you think of it? I mean, it's changed a lot since then. It's kind of different as an adult. It's kind of fun.
Well, when I was there, I was getting into the beginning. Besides my baseball card collecting, they have some really good memorabilia shops.
They do.
I think that's where I might have got that Honeymooners one.
So they used to have a store where you could buy stuff like that for cheap, and it was like that.
This wasn't cheap then.
It was like that for years, and then one day they kind of realized. One day the market kind of corrected that. And
I caught it when they corrected.
Yeah.
I also went to a football game. I think it was like one of those bowl games.
Okay.
Florida State.
Yeah.
I've never been to I had its first college game since my LSU experiences. But yeah, I liked it. Back then I could handle those rides.
Yeah.
I took my godkids to Gurney Park a few years ago. I can't go on those rides anymore.
We got to get you down though. We got to get you on. It's a small world.
You
do. It's a
that
small world. Imagination with Figment. We get you on those.
That'd be fine.
We'll work our way up to Big Thunder Mountain.
But some of those are backbusters, even if your back and neck are in perfect shape.
And they're building one they're building a Tron ride, which you sit down you pretty much lay down on the motorcycle and it zips you around. It's like a roller coaster.
You and AJ can go.
There you go. Wow, that was a hell of a story, Carrie. That took a turn I did not expect to hear.
Neither did Goofy.
Neither did Carrie.
So we went from the legalization, the decriminalization of prostitution
and police reform,
the George Floyd travesty, to your wonderful time recently with your brother at Disney World, and a throwback Disney World story from almost 30 years ago. Who knows what we'll have for you next week?
I'd say things
Last Stop Penn Station. Please subscribe. Please buy a shirt. Did you notice we're zooming?
We're zooming, and we're ranked. We've been ranking again. Thank you in the U.S. podcast for personal journals. We've been in the top 20 each of the last couple of weeks.
We had our 5-star thing. It was stuck at 70 something for a long time. It's getting near 90.
Yeah,
we're getting near that magic 100.
Yeah, we were at 91 last time I checked. So
yeah.
Amazing. If you haven't left a review, please do. That really helps us. It helps generate interest. It puts us up in the algorithm. It gets us higher in the rankings.
Legitimately in the personal journals category.
Yeah, we're on the first page, which is a tough category to crack, considering I think Oprah's in the category, and we're up there with some heavy hitters. So that's pretty cool company.
Thanks to you.
Yeah.
Jay.
Thanks to everybody that listens. And we want to thank you this week. We had a great time. We want to thank AJ, our producer from Basant Creative and Web Design. We want to thank Carrie for being open and gregarious as he always is.
And let's not forget my buddy Eric from Discover Pro Wrestling, who helps us out. And we'll be back at you next week. Maybe we'll do that sex tour.
Oh, things have been looking up. I think now's the time. It felt like we were, with the pandemic, but the vaccines are up, the cases are coming back down. I think it's time for the sex tour. All right. We'll bring that to you next week right here on Last Stop Penn Station.
I thank God it's still the handle and the train and won't stop. Oh, no, it could slow down.
We hail you for listening to Last Stop Penn Station podcast. Rate, review, like, subscribe, and share on your favorite platform. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or at laststoppennstation.com.